Hello fun people, I'm Isaac Carlson, and today I want to explain to you why I think Addison might have a twin sister. While I previously suspected that Addison might be part zombie, vampire, and alien, separated from all of that, I think it's compelling to think about what might happen if Addison's journey to discover who she is led to her meeting a long-lost sister. I believe it could be fascinating to see Addison's twin be the one to guide her to understand what they are, and I think this is a very possible idea based off of what has been building up in the zombies world. If you're a zombies fan like me who has been watching Addison's Moonstone mystery, you know we've seen some pretty wild events take place recently as Addison strived to uncover her identity after an insane dream.
I need to find my missing piece.
You see, in the music video More Than a Mystery, we learn that Addison was once driven into some kind of alternate reality as she slept, which brought her into this winding, wild, and black and white world where she was guided through a door deeper into a dark part of her dream. And it's by following this bat guide, crossing that threshold, and going within this glowing purple cave where we get to see her confront another Addison as she explains that she's searching for the rest of herself. Addison is calling out into the world asking if there is someone out there who can allow her to finally discover how she can be herself because she misses herself. At that moment, Addison looks into a mirror and seems to see a reflection of herself, but in fact, that's not what she's seeing. By touching what might look like a reflective surface, Addison discovers that what she's peering into is actually a portal to another part of her dream world. And after stating that she'll be able to get out of the nightmare as time goes on, we see that another version of Addison is on the other side of the portal once Addison turns her head, but the other version of her just continues to look forward. At least in this dream, another Addison exists and actually gave the Addison we know a crystal that was later declared as a vampire crystal, which Addison would inevitably awaken with in the real world. This other being seemed to know what was needed for Addison to not only continue on her journey, but also how to communicate and send her a piece of their monster world. Now, yes, when I saw this other Addison, she seemed kind of nefarious and evil at first. She's got this one diabolical looking stare that just doesn't inspire a lot of confidence, but the outcome of her actions do seem good. Addison got a vampire crystal, which showed her that there were still more monsters to discover and befriend, and inevitably that encounter in her dream did seem to play a part in her continuing to search to find what she was, even though it led to another barrier. In a similar way to how Addison has been alluded to being connected to zombies through her grandfather being bitten, and to werewolves because they believed she could be their alpha, we were shown again that Addison has some type of bond with another monster through her introduction to the vampire Vanna. In Addison's Moonstone mystery, from the moment everyone at Seabrook met Vanna, they could tell she was different because she smelled unique to the werewolves, didn't appear in mirrors, could transform into a bat, and eventually showed that she could mind control everyone around her except for Addison. But not only could Addison resist being hypnotized, she also had the ability to break the influence of Vanna as well. Addison can overpower a vampire's will, which led Addison to wonder if she was a vampire herself.
What are you?
I don't know.
But just like all of the other monsters that Addison has met, she wasn't exactly like them, even though she had this feeling inside of her that made her feel drawn to Vanna.
Something about Vanna feels familiar to me. Maybe somehow I'm like her.
Again, Addison got her hopes up that she had found others exactly like herself, but was again disappointed. Sure, she was able to befriend Vanna and was able to guide her zombie and werewolf friends to do the same, but nonetheless, she was left waiting for her time to come where she would get to find peace for herself because so far everyone else has gotten that. The zombies were integrated into Seabrook, the werewolves reunited with their Moonstone, and the vampires were able to be freed. But Addison was just left waiting in the wings. At least for now. I truthfully think and hope the answers to what she is are coming soon because I'm definitely getting restless. I don't know about you, but I am ready to see where this mystery is going to go. This storyline can't go on forever, especially since we are seeing the scope of the monster world continuing to be opened up, and we have seen another person who looks like Addison. You see, now that we have been shown that another Addison of some kind exists somewhere, I don't think it's going to be long before we see both of these Addisons siblings come together again, and at that point, I think that other girl could reveal herself to be Addison's twin sister. I just think it could be incredible to discover that Addison's family is larger than she initially believed it to be, especially since she often has felt like such an outcast when she was with them and needs someone to guide her on her journey of self-discovery. With her cousin as the most popular boy at school, her mother is mayor, and her father is chief of police, she's been very isolated from her family, especially when her fight for monster rights began. With the inclusion of a twin sister, maybe this new girl would be able to provide some comfort for Addison as they go on an adventure to finally discover what she is. And personally, I think the options to answer that question might extend far beyond what we know right now. Sure, we know about zombies, werewolves, vampires, and the most devious cheerleaders, but in fact, on the entrance to the hidden cave that held Vanna's family, there were a lot more markings on that door that I think represent each of the legendary monsters that have existed since we only saw the vampire crystal light up the V shape. I believe each marking could be a symbol for a different monster, and maybe Addison is going to discover with her sister how many different beings there are around Seabrook. And as for where I think Addison's twin might have been all this time, personally, I'm still going with the idea that Addison and her true family are actually aliens, which is an idea I've brought up in both of my previous two discussions on Addison, which I'll leave linked below. In summary though, I think Addison's people derived from a different world and were the ones who created all of the magical objects that led to the rise of all of the monsters in Seabrook. If that's the case, I think it's possible that Addison will discover she has a twin sister who grew up on their home planet. And when the two sisters come together again, I think the new twin might try to convince Addison to leave Seabrook behind to go back to their homeworld, which in my opinion would be an incredible conundrum for her to face, even if the alien idea doesn't come true. The twin could come from another town, and this idea would still be fascinating because for the longest time, Addison has been trying to find out what she is, and if that discovery came into direct conflict with the life she currently has, I believe it would be so interesting to see how she would continue to move forward. Would she pick the family she created for herself or the one that she was born with? Throughout Zombies 3, I also think a decision like that would add some deep tension with her twin. The new twin might have a completely different perspective on how Seabrook has evolved and what Addison's place in such an average town should be, since she is someone who is been deemed as special. But that's just something she'll have to get through in the same way that she had to discover what she felt was right when it came to the rights of zombies and werewolves. Addison has frequently been told what to believe, but she always finds the strength within herself to do what she thinks is right, and I don't think that will change no matter who she would confront in the next story. Maybe the town will also fall in love with Addison's twin, and suddenly Addison might not feel as special as everyone once told her she was. And maybe she'll lose a sense of community and home within Seabrook when the rest of her friends start loving her twin at the same time that she realizes that she's never experienced the place where she was born. Sure, we know Addison definitely isn't perfect. We've seen that from how she was willing to go to too far of lengths to advocate for others, and that she's made mistakes on what she wants to become. But I think it would just be great to see her really struggle with this turning point in her journey as she decides what her future will hold. Sure, I doubt she will actually leave Seabrook behind, but I think a twin sister would be the ultimate way to tempt her away, because that other girl would represent what Addison might have become if she had been raised knowing who she was. And while I'm sure a part of Addison will think about what if when she looks at her twin, I think no matter what, Addison will continue the life she has created for herself with her friends. But what do you think? Do you believe Addison will discover she has a twin sister? Also, make sure to subscribe and click the beautiful bell if you're new, and then click on another magical video in the description or on the screen. Finally, as always, thank you to my patrons, thanks for watching, and have a magical day.